How do we say we're going to war without saying we're going to war? You got to understand, people. These AGM 158s have a range of 500 miles, not to mention the F-16s they're sending into Ukraine that have nuclear capability. Ask yourself, what would you do if Russians had the same type equipment sitting in Mexico? This is no joke. If you're seeing they're going to strike deeper in, I know you heard about Kursk. What are we going to do when Russia has had enough and we're using our weapons? Does anybody else remember at the beginning of this, they said if we send F-16s or long-range missiles or this or that in support of Ukraine, that would mean world war. This proxy is getting out of control, and you better be ready, because they're going to try to drag us into a draft war. That means our kids have the potential to go to a draft war. Remember after Vietnam? And that's hell. If we even win, we don't even know, because China's getting involved all around. So this is how you say we're going to war without saying we're going to war. If this administration keeps it up, this is where we're going to be. Because look at this. They're preparing airmen to carry rifles. Why would they be doing that? This is the Air Force. Now, as a Marine, we always carried rifle all the way through boot camp and all that. This is the Air Force. They project through strength around the world from distances. The Marine Corps and the Navy typically are a little bit further forward. You got the Navy with the aircraft carrier, and then you got our aircraft that we have in the Army as well. We carry rifles, but the Air Force, I mean, really? They're going to carry M4s in boot camp on their own troops? Why is that? Because if you read these articles, you'll see why. They're concerned of bases and things where they're going to have to be getting overran. Guardians will now carry practice rifles for weapons handling. I mean, you need better training than just carrying them around with a little practice rifle, a little rubber rifle. Was it teach them not to forget it in the chow hall? I mean, come on. This is crazy. But this is here. They're preparing us for a global conflict between Russia and China. And you can sit here and pause and read through this. I'm telling you, people, we're being led to war. This is how you say we're going to war. And there's several other things, like positioning of carrier fleets and nuclear carrier fleets, training of Marines to train with the SEALs. There's all kinds of other stuff going. I'm just pointing out little basic things that are right in your face. All right? This isn't being prepared for anything. This is like preparing for something. And if people don't wake up to what's going on, we're going to be right at the doorsteps, because there's all kinds of things going on around the world. So yeah, here, United States Air Force can no longer count on overseas bases for power projection. In other words, from a distance. Oh, you mean like in Afghanistan? The runway we built, that would have been the equivalent of Cuba to China if we were to get involved with China. But they specifically say in here for war against China with Taiwan, and how they're not able to project from the overseas bases. And we gave up a major base, a major player, not for just the Air Force, but for all of our branches of service that we could have used to project from in Kabul. So we gave up that air base, and now here we are once again. And we have generals that said that we cannot fight two large-scale wars simultaneously. We don't have the capacity. Well, now we're looking at China, Russia, and Iran. Not to mention all the small things that are going on around the world and all of our deployments. We can't afford it. They've been chopping away at us. You better vote to put Trump in so we can get this stuff nipped in the butt, because this is out of control. If you think Kamala Harris knows anything about China and Russia and Iran, not to mention our border and all the people that have infiltrated our border, do you think that Russian fleet just dropped off nothing in Cuba? I guarantee you that a minimum they're special operation forces that were dropped off. And if you don't think a SEAL can go from Cuba to Florida or Florida to Cuba, you're sadly mistaken. I guarantee you at a minimum that's there, if not other things. You better wake up. This is not a joke. Unless you're ready to send your kids off to a draft war. I'm telling you now, it's getting bad.